Beneath the bruised twilight sky, the sand trembles with life. Thousands of tiny shells fracture, releasing a tide of motion no wider than a hand, an ancient ritual reborn under the indifferent gaze of the moon. Each hatchling claws toward the dark shimmer of the sea, driven by instincts older than memory itself. The air is thick with salt and prayer. Each breath carries both hope and farewell. Then, in the hush between waves, one breaks free. Smaller than the rest, its silhouette trembling against the surf. The crowd exhales as it vanishes into the foam. A victory whispered through centuries. But as the sea folds around it, the celebration halts. Something stirs below. A deep vibration rolls through the sand, soft yet immense, turning cheers to silence. Nature holds its breath, as if the ocean itself has remembered something it wished to forget. The ocean withdraws, dragging foam and silence in its wake. For a moment, the beach seems to forget how to breathe. Lena feels it first, the stillness between heartbeats, as if the world has paused mid-thought. Tomas kneels, fingers pressed into the trembling sand. Kai whispers something, but his voice is devoured by the hush. The horizon flickers with distant lightning, though no thunder follows. Then, a vibration, faint but rhythmic, pulses beneath their feet. Not seismic, not tidal, something alive. Lena's breath catches. She knows this rhythm. It belongs to something that should not be here. Not this close to shore. The sea exhales a dark mist. A single turtle shell washes back, cracked, as if emptied from within. Morning comes slow, like a bruise spreading beneath pale clouds. Volunteers whisper theories, sharks, currents, tricks of light. But Lena's mind races backward, recalling sonar readings from last month. Deep harmonic disturbances near the trench. Patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. Now, standing amid scattered shells and driftwood, she feels the same low resonance hum through her sternum. Tomas listens too, his gaze cast far beyond the shallows. There's reverence in his silence, fear cloaked as faith. Kai kneels to examine the shell fragments, finding one fused smooth. Not broken, but melted. Something beneath the surface is heating the sea. By afternoon, the beach is deserted. Only the sound of the tide remains, and even that feels mechanical, rehearsed. Lena walks the shoreline, recording notes into a small field mic. Each crash of water seems to answer her. When she plays it back, the playback hums with layered tones, almost vocal, like whale song spliced with machinery. Tomas joins her, his face drawn and pale. "It's calling from the trench," she murmurs, though she doesn't know how she knows. Kai trails behind, drone hovering above the waves. Through its lens they see a shadow, enormous, gliding just beneath the foam, circling back toward shore. Night returns heavier than before. Clouds smother the stars, and the sea glows faintly from within. A soft blue phosphorescence tracing invisible currents. Lena stands at the edge, transfixed. The water pulses with light, rhythmic and slow, matching the beat beneath her ribs. Tomas warns her to step back, but she kneels instead, hand hovering above the waves. The light flares, brilliant, blinding, and vanishes. In the sudden darkness, the sound returns. Low, resonant, deliberate. Kai's drone feed cuts to static. And then from somewhere deep below, the sand shifts again, breathing. The following dawn brings silence where there should be birds. The tide has receded farther than any local remembers. Patches of seaweed cling to dry sand like veins, and stranded fish twitch helplessly beneath a thin veil of mist. Lena walks through the devastation barefoot, every step sinking into wet earth that feels strangely warm. Tomas follows, silent, his faith thinning in the strange emptiness. Kai scans the horizon with his drone. But the live feed shows only distortion, as though the air itself is vibrating. The ocean seems to breathe out of sync with the world. Then, a low roar emerges from offshore. Not thunder, but something deeper, older, resonant. Lena's voice trembles. That's not the current, that's movement. At the research tent, the generator hums like a restless heart. Lena reviews sonar data on flickering screens, every reading warped by low-frequency interference. It's as if the sea itself is jamming their instruments. Tomas brings in a small crate. A turtle corpse, half burned, the edges fused smooth like glass. Lena touches it gently. "Thermal degradation," she whispers, though her tone betrays disbelief. Kai's camera records the moment, catching the tremor in her hand. Then the tent's lights dim. A power surge, but no lightning. Lena turns to the equipment. The sonar graph spikes violently, a singular pulse repeating like a coded signal. 3 beats. Pause. 3 again. A pattern. By afternoon, the local radio cuts to emergency broadcasts. Fishermen report missing nets, drifting boats, and a sound beneath the hulls that makes engines stall. Lena records each transmission, overlaying them into a spectral waveform. The pulse grows clearer, organic yet mechanical, as though life and machine have merged beneath the water. Tomas kneels outside, tracing shapes in the sand. Old symbols once used to honor the sea's spirits. Kai interrupts with a cry. His drone has found something. A circular disturbance offshore, the surface rippling like breath under ice. Lena listens closer. Beneath the sound, a human pattern emerges. Deliberate. Someone, or something, is calling back. They set out on a small boat before dusk. The horizon burns with orange haze, and the sea glistens like melted glass. Each wave rolls unnaturally slow, as though gravity itself hesitates. Lena activates the hydrophone, lowering it into the water. The speakers crackle, then steady. A low tone, deep as a heartbeat, fills the air. The sound is so immense it feels physical, pressing against their bones. Tomas grips the railing, eyes wide with reverence and fear. Kai mutters, "It's like it's watching us." The sound shifts suddenly. Not just tone, but direction. Something massive moves beneath them, displacing the current. The sea bulges upward, breathing. The signal cuts to silence. For a moment, the boat rocks gently. Then the world shifts. Beneath them, the sea erupts in a swirl of phosphorescent blue. The glow forms lines, geometric, impossibly precise, stretching outward like veins of light. Lena's breath catches. The patterns aren't random. They're forming symbols, almost letters. Tomas whispers an ancient prayer under his breath, voice shaking. Kai films, transfixed, whispering. It's language. The light intensifies until it becomes unbearable, casting ghostly reflections on their faces. Then, with one final pulse, it vanishes, plunging them into blackness. The sound that follows is not natural. It's a voice. By morning, the sea is unnervingly still, as if exhaustion itself has settled over the horizon. The research boat drifts among floating debris. Fragments of coral, torn nets, a buoy split clean in half. Lena plays back last night's recording. Between static and subsonic hums, a whispering pattern emerges. Syllables too slow for human tongues, too fluid for any known whale. She isolates the frequencies, aligning them on the monitor. The result forms a spiral, identical to the ones Tomas drew in the sand. He crosses himself, voice trembling. It's speaking in patterns of creation. Kai stares at the waveform, whispering. Then, what's it trying to make? Lena dives before anyone can stop her. The The water swallows her in a heartbeat, silence compressing around her body like pressure-made flesh. She descends through layers of cold, each one darker than the last. Bioluminescent trails shimmer below, coiling like luminous handwriting across the abyss. Her dive light flickers, not from failure, but interference. Then the beam steadies, illuminating a wall of coral unlike anything she's seen. Vast, spiraled, symmetrical, metallic at its core. She reaches out, and the structure pulses back. Alive. Aware. Resonating with the same rhythm as the sonar pulses. Something answers her touch from inside the reef. On deck, Tomas grips the rail, scanning the dive monitor. Lena's vitals spike erratically. The sonar begins transmitting again, but this time, it's synchronized with her heartbeat. Kai watches the waveform pulse faster, then stop entirely. She's at the trench wall. Tomas mutters, voice cracking. Suddenly, the screen blooms with light, a shape forming in the depths, vast and fluid, circling her. It moves like intelligence wrapped in water. The hydrophone crackles. Through it, Lena's voice whispers one word, alive. Then the line goes dead. Lena drifts in black water, disoriented. The coral wall now pulses with steady light, the same rhythm that vibrates through her bones. Shapes emerge from the darkness, translucent and immense. Not fish, not mammal. Organic machinery of the abyss. Their movements are deliberate, graceful, and horrifying in their intelligence. One glides close. Its surface shimmers with reflected memories, images of the beach, the hatchlings, the storm. It's showing her something. Then the images twist. Oil rigs, sonar blasts, dead reefs. The creature's glow dims to red. The ocean's pain has a face. On the surface, the sea convulses. Waves spiral outward, as if pushed by something vast rising from below. Tomas shouts orders, but Kai freezes, pointing toward the horizon. The water bulges, forming a slow, towering dome of luminescent blue. Inside it, silhouettes shift, massive, fluid, ancient. The dome collapses with thunderous silence, drenching the deck in glowing spray. Lena breaks the surface seconds later, gasping, eyes wide with revelation. It's not a creature, she breathes. It's communication. Behind her, the trench glows, not with light, but with consciousness awakening. The world has turned electric. Every breaker in the camp flickers like a heartbeat. Every compass needle spins. Lena sits wrapped in a towel, skin trembling with salt and adrenaline. She replays her dive footage, coral veins pulsing, the vast translucent being gliding around her, the shifting spiral of light. But beneath the imagery, a pattern repeats. Not sonar, not random. It's data. A message. Tomas watches from the doorway, his voice breaking. You shouldn't have touched it. Lena's reply is soft, haunted. It reached for me first. Kai scans the equipment. Readings spike again. The pulse has followed them to shore. The ocean isn't silent anymore. It's transmitting. Night settles again, heavy with humidity and static. Outside, the sea glows faintly blue. The same pulse Lena saw beneath the trench. She moves closer to the shore, recorder in hand, each wave sensing to her heartbeat. Tomas warns her to stop, but curiosity has become compulsion. The sand begins to shimmer, as though the light beneath the ocean were leaking upward through the grains. Kai films in stunned silence. The air vibrates, forming visible ripples. Lena whispers, "It's responding to sound." She hums, a low, trembling note. The sea answers in harmony, a resonance that shakes the air apart. At dawn, the pulse becomes a storm. The sky splits with light. Not lightning, but radiant columns of vapor rising from the sea like beacons. Radio frequencies collapse under interference. Phones die, even the gulls vanish. Lena and Tomas rush to higher ground as Kai screams from the tent. The monitors are showing deep-sea tremors, but the pattern is reversed. It's not tectonic movement, it's transmission. The trench is emitting sound upward. Across the beach, water surges inland, not as a wave, but as a rising tide of light. The pulse has found its frequency. Lena decodes the pulse manually, layering frequencies against archived sonar maps. Slowly, the interference resolves into form. Concentric rings centered exactly over the trench. It's a signal, she whispers, but not sent to us. It's calling something back. Tomas stares through the tent wall toward the ocean, whispering old prayers of protection. Kai replays his footage, frames of the trench glowing like a vast iris, opening and closing. The pulse quickens, shaking the sand beneath their feet. Lena steadies the microphone. It's not warning us, she says. It's waking up. That night, the sky itself begins to pulse. Clouds form into spirals, mirroring the coral pattern beneath the trench. The air thrums like a struck chord, resonating through bone and memory. Lena walks to the water's edge, drawn as though by gravity. Each step sinks to the rhythm. Her breath matches the waves. The horizon blazes with a single beam of light, descending into the sea. A communication complete. Behind her, Tomas shouts her name. She turns just as the beam splits, spreading tendrils of light toward the coast. The pulse reaches land. The world hums with something new, life rewritten in sound. The morning begins with absence. No birds, no surf, no hum. Only the hollow stillness after the pulse. Lena awakens to find the shoreline transformed. Where sand once lay, a glassy crust now glints beneath the sun, fractured and steaming. The air smells metallic, ozone-rich. She touches the surface. It's warm, faintly vibrating, like a living shell. Tomas wades into the shallows, kneeling in disbelief as tiny fish float motionless, suspended in viscous water that glows faintly from within. Kai records in silence, too shaken to speak. Then a sharp crack echoes. The glass splits, releasing a rush of vapor that smells of oil and decay. The ocean has ruptured. Something beneath is pushing upward. The rupture widens through the morning. From the fissure, dark plumes spill upward. Not smoke, but liquid shadows that curl like living tendrils. The scent burns their throats. Lena recognizes it instantly. Hydrocarbons, she whispers, but ancient. The trench has breached a vein of something buried, something human. Oil, mixed with planktonic life that glows faintly in the black slick. The sea is bleeding memory. Tomas murmurs that the ocean is purging what humanity tried to hide. Kai films the dark flow as it spreads, curling into patterns, the same spirals that now mark the sky. The planet is mirroring its wound. By midday, tremors ripple across the coastline. The once calm sea convulses as fissures open beneath the waves. Lena realizes the pulse has destabilized the seabed. Whatever was dormant beneath the trench is rising. She connects the hydrophone to her recorder again. The sound is deafening. A deep harmonic scream layered with thousands of tones. Kai covers his ears, shouting that it's too much. Tomas grips the boat's railing, eyes wide with terror. Through the roar, a pattern emerges. Like breath, like language, like accusation. The earth itself is speaking, and it sounds furious. The breach swells into a column of churning black and blue. Lena steadies her camera. Her voice is trembling as she records. The ocean is expelling contaminants, hydrocarbons, plastics, heavy metals, all fused into this rising mass. Tomas stares, whispering prayers drowned by the rumbling air. Kai captures every frame, tears streaking his face. The column rises higher, crackling with electric light, forming a vortex that pierces the clouds. From its core, Something glows, an ancient radiance, neither natural nor alien, but both. The pulse has given form to what humanity buried, a monument of its own making. Then silence returns, too sudden, too vast. The column collapses in on itself, imploding with a soundless pulse. The shockwave races outward, toppling waves and flattening air. When the water calms, the trench glows like an open wound beneath the surface, deep crimson fading to white. Lena stands motionless, drenched and shaking. "It's finished," she whispers. Tomas kneels, hands buried in the wet sand, whispering prayers for the sea. Kai lowers his camera, eyes hollow, but then a sound returns, faint. From the depths, the pulse begins again, slower this time, almost tender. Not destruction, rebirth. The storm arrives without wind. The air itself folds inward, collapsing into a vacuum of sound. From horizon to horizon, the sky darkens into liquid slate. Lena stands at the shoreline, staring upward as clouds twist into slow, deliberate spirals, mirroring the patterns beneath the sea. The ocean breathes in synchrony. Inhale, exhale. Each wave drawing closer with measured rhythm. Tomas grips his chest, whispering that the heavens have begun to drown. Kai's camera sputters static, overwhelmed by magnetic interference. The light fades from the world, replaced by a trembling luminescence that rises not from the sky, but from the sea. The planet is mirroring its pulse. Lightning forks through the clouds, but it strikes upward, drawn into the storm like reverse veins of light. Lena's instruments record impossible readings. Gravity fluctuations, temperature inversions, electromagnetic surges beyond the atmosphere. "It's global now," she whispers, voice trembling. Tomas kneels, shouting a prayer into the wind as the tide surges inland. Kai's drone launches briefly, capturing an image of the sky itself bending, like an ocean inverted above them. The world seems suspended between drowning and flight. Lena steadies her recorder, whispering into it. The pulse has reached the sky. Earth's breath reversed. The sea advances without violence, slow, deliberate, as though reclaiming what was stolen. Lena and Tomas retreat toward higher dunes, dragging equipment through thigh-deep water. Kai lags behind, filming every moment, his voice shaking but steady. "It's rewriting us," he says. The air vibrates, frequencies rising beyond hearing, bending into a single resonant tone that feels alive inside their chests. Lena drops her recorder. "It's learning," she murmurs. The water glows brighter with each surge until it's no longer clear. It's alive, filled with microscopic organisms pulsing in harmony. The planet's blood is awakening. Lena reaches the high ridge overlooking the bay. Below, the entire coastline shimmers like liquid crystal, waves flowing inward from every direction. In the center, the trench glow, brighter now, throbbing like a heartbeat. She adjusts the long-range receiver, hands trembling. The sound coming through is no longer a pattern but a chorus. Thousands of overlapping tones forming a single wordless harmony. Tomas falls to his knees, tears streaming freely. "It's not punishment," he breathes. "It's remembrance." Lena listens, transfixed. The sea isn't destroying, it's resetting. The pulse has become creation's new rhythm. As night falls, the world glows. Every droplet, every wave, every breath radiates faint luminescence. The storm subsides into stillness, leaving the air heavy and holy. Lena kneels at the water's edge, overwhelmed by the silence after the roar. Kai approaches, filming her softly silhouetted form. "We changed the planet," he says. She shakes her head. "No, it changed itself to survive us." In the distance, the horizon flickers. The last remnants of the trench's light sinking slowly back into the deep. Above, stars return, but they pulse now, faintly, to the rhythm of the sea. Days pass, though time feels fractured. rewritten by the pulse. The storm has vanished, leaving behind a landscape unrecognizable. Coral rising like cathedrals from once barren sand. Luminous plankton drifting through the shallows like airborne embers. Lena records quietly, her voice calm but hollow. The ecosystem is rebuilding, she says, but not returning. The readings show life adapting to frequencies left by the event. A new biological rhythm encoded in sound. Tomas builds a small shrine of driftwood and shells at the water's edge, murmuring thanks to whatever force spared them. Kai films from a distance, knowing they have captured the end of the world, or its beginning. The survivors' camp grows quiet. Communication towers lie silent, satellites unresponsive. Yet across the world, faint reports echo. Rivers glowing at night, mountains resonating with sound beneath stone. Lena deciphers patterns from her recordings, discovering that the frequencies of the pulse align with molecular vibration. The earth is retuning itself. Tomas listens in silence, head bowed. Maybe it's mercy, he whispers. Kai uploads the last footage into the local drive, uncertain if anyone will ever see it. The signal hums faintly through the equipment, not interference, but continuation. The pulse still speaks, softer now, within the very air. Lena returns to the beach alone that evening. The tide hums in soft resonance, low and kind. The sound she once feared now feels like breath itself. She crouches beside a cluster of newly formed turtle nests, the sand warm and alive beneath her palm. Tiny shells stir beneath the surface, trembling with motion. It begins again, she whispers. One hatchling breaks through, eyes glinting with faint, bioluminescent reflection. The cycle continues, reborn in altered water. The pulse has become the world's lullaby. Lena smiles for the first time, her tears lost in the glow of the newborn tide. From the ridge, Tomas and Kai watch the horizon. The trench's glow has faded, but the ocean now shimmers with scattered points of light. Constellations reflected upward, mirroring the night sky. It listens, Tomas murmurs, but it no longer needs to answer. Kai films in silence, framing the balance between water and sky. He captures Lena walking along the surf below. Small, fragile, but certain. The pulse is no longer a threat or message. It is memory, written into every current, every grain of sand. The earth has spoken, and it has chosen to keep its silence this time. The final dawn breaks, quiet, clear, and impossibly bright. Lena records one last entry. The sea remembers, but it forgives. Life endures through its own reinvention. Her words fade into the hush of waves. In the distance, new coral blooms break the surface, glowing faintly like lanterns of renewal. Tomas bows his head. Kai lowers his camera. Together they stand, small figures before the vast resurrected ocean. The silence that once terrified them now feels sacred. Beneath the water, unseen but eternal, the pulse continues. Slow, deliberate, endless. The heartbeat of a living world reborn.